everyone, Thomas Critical here. Today I'm going to be doing character thoughts on, and it is going to be Henry this time. So we'll take a look at my models first, and then I will say what I have to say. So here is my first Henry. He is very abused. As you can see, he's missing his dome. He's got paint chips just everywhere. His face looks kind of beat in. Last time it focused on Edward when I did that. But yeah, his face is beat in a bit. Just chips everywhere, This was my first ever Thomas model. I guess you could say model. Some people don't call them models, but no name bottom. This thing was the start of everything. So I hold this dear to my heart. Now, that doesn't mean I didn't like Henry. I'll talk about that a little bit here in a couple minutes. Then look, I got this real old one. I don't even know what year this is from, because the seller never told me. And there's no years on these wheels. They're flat, which I don't understand. The magnets are kind of weak as well, but I'd say this is definitely very early 90s. This Henry is probably one of my favorites that I have of all of my wooden railway. The wheels feel a different material, which is kind of hard to believe, or kind of like, I don't know, they just feel different. And on the bottom, no name bottom, these are actually made differently. These are curved instead of just blocked, and it's staples, flat cold and flat magnets. So I'd say this is like I'm going to assume, because I do all of these videos with no knowledge, I'm just going off of what I think and what I can remember about these trains. And I would assume this is like a 95 maybe, and that might, something around there. And then a lot of people have problems with this one, but it is the Bachmann Henry. Come on, focus, please, would you, huh? Stupid phone. I don't understand why it hates focusing on stuff. There we go. I'm not going to go too deep in detail with this, because everyone knows what these look like. It's pretty accurate to what you would see in the model era. Now, how I feel about Henry is it goes up and down. I love the character, but sometimes I cannot stand him. There are times where Henry is one of my favorite characters, and then there's other times where, I just really couldn't care. I'll give you an example. Henry and the Elephant. I think that's what it was called, if I'm remembering it right. I'm almost positive it was. I was not a fan of that episode ever since I was real little. I could not tell you why, but I just never liked it. And my first thought was, nowadays my first thought was, maybe I just don't like Henry. Which is totally false, because I love all of most of his stories, his older ones. The newer episodes with Henry in them, I think, are where the faults lie. I think Henry was once a very awesome character. He seemed to always have emotional problems, and always breaking down, sick. I think some people could probably relate to that. And these newer episodes with him in it, he seems like a crybaby. I don't think kids want to watch an episode about somebody that is constantly just upset, worrisome all the time, things like that. There was one episode that I can faintly remember, which was when Henry had a leaky tank for his water, I think it was. I think that was, in my opinion, one of the last good episodes with Henry in him. Because I can't really remember any other Henry episodes. If there even was any. He seemed to fade out to me a lot through the years. From the first season, where there's a lot of the original characters, obviously, and then throughout the years of adding more characters into it, he seemed to just start getting the cold shoulder, much like our beloved number 2 Edward did. And I think the reason both of them are starting to fade away is because kids can't relate to what is going on with them. Henry was always the worrisome, always sick, breaking down, and then they changed him to just constantly worrying and being upset about the dumbest things possible. Edward, ever since that episode with Rocky, I didn't bring this up in my Edward thoughts on, but ever since that episode with Rocky, it seemed like he had a downward spiral, even though I thought it was kind of interesting to see another side of Edward. And now this is going to get real controversial, and I know some people might get mad at me for saying this, but I'm going on what I see on Facebook comments and what I see in the television show. It seems that parents are upset the fact that there are not female characters. We saw the bring back of Rosie, and now there's other 2 new ones I don't even care for. I've totally given up on the show now that they got rid of 2 of the characters that were my favorite. And who did they get rid of was Edward and Henry. As I was saying, 2 of in the newer series, the forgettable ones. And on Facebook, there are, on Thomas pages, I'm a fan of it, so I go through and like these pages, and all I see on some of these are just people complaining that they need to make female characters to appeal to the female audience. Now, if a little girl sees our little blue hero, I think that she is a fan. And one of the comments I read was they need to add a female line because there's not enough female characters in Thomas. Well, while yes, I do agree that there is a lack of it, but usually, trains look more male, I think is the better way to describe it. And it's just not, I just don't think they did it right. I think if they implemented it a different way, besides getting rid of 2 characters and adding 2 female characters, which the way I'm describing this makes me sound like I am upset with that. No, in fact, I am not. I just don't think they should be a part of the STEAM team instead of Edward and Henry, is what I am getting from this. I just don't know how to feel about it. I mean, Edward and Henry were 2 of the just start of what everything we know of is. And it's just, why would you get rid of them? I don't know. I do think the female characters do have something to do with it. I think they're going down the wrong path. I do see a lot of comments about the new whatever Thomas thing coming up is, and a lot of people are very upset with it. mainly because Edward and Henry might not be in it. Edward and Henry are gone now, basically. People are very upset with that. And just all of the toy range is going downhill. I just think this is their last saving grace, is to play the gender card, as I'll call it. Because that's my only, thought when it comes to that. So, I don't know. I'm just really trying to explain my feelings about the situation Henry and Edward are in, considering this is a Henry episode, so I thought I'd bring it up now. I really wanted to stay away from it in the Edward episode, but it appears that I brought it up. I wasn't going to, but I did. So I'm sorry if some of you highly disagree with my opinion. I hope you do leave a comment saying what your thoughts of this is, of the situation that Henry and Edward are in. And if you are upset, this is a one-off thing. I don't plan on bringing that type of thought process into another video. So I hope you stay and enjoy my content. And I will see you guys in another episode.